Good evening, trans fans, and welcome to another Lexitron review. Tonight, I bring you G1 Soundwave. Doesn't get any cooler than this, right, guys? I mean, this is the original, and we all know he turns into a mini cassette player. And if you took a real mini cassette, you could fit it right in there. It's this figure by far, I think, is probably one of the best disguised robots of all time. I can think of very few Transformer figures, or very few Transformers, that are hidden as accurate as well as this guy. I mean, this dude, he does not give away the fact that he is a robot, at all. You can't really tell that those are fists, and you can't really, tell that that's his head sitting in there. I mean, it looks like something weird, but you don't know what it is. There's just no kibble, no anything on this guy whatsoever to make it, to make you think that this is anything other than a tape deck. And he does have some die-cast metal parts, so he's weighty. He's substantial. He feels like he could be a real tape deck. I mean, if it wasn't for that Decepticon logo sitting there, and you just saw this thing sitting around, you would assume that it's real. And there are some details that kind of help that along. He does have a volume button here, and that goes up and down, just like that. And he has an on and off switch over here, up and down. And his battery pack back here, you could take this, you could clip it onto your waist and walk around with it like it's a real tape deck. That's cool. Now, full warning ahead of time, I got this Soundwave sans accessories, so I cannot demonstrate accessories to you, and I am very sorry about that. I wish I could, but it is what it is. But he does have this battery pack, and when you slide it down, you can take his accessories, his shoulder cannon and his gun that he comes with, and you can store them in here as if they were AA batteries. And then you can just slide the cover back on and hide them. Brilliant. Brilliant weapons concealment. Brilliant. They're just so perfectly hidden in there. You'd never know. Very cool, very clever. And then there's his chest and, the eject button, the famous thing. And you just push down on this, and it's supposed to open right up. Now, this guy is like 30 years old, so the fact that the gimmick doesn't quite work like it used to, it doesn't surprise me. And it's alright. I forgive it. It's old. It happens when toys get old. I've just come to accept it. Now, Soundwave does come with... He did come with one cassette. He came with Laserbeak originally. Now, unfortunately, I don't have Laserbeak. All I have is Overkill for demonstrative purposes. But Overkill has always been one of my favorites anyway. And someday he will not be the only Cassetticon. Hopefully. Soundwave can store one cassette in here at a time. When they reissued the figure later on, they've modified his chest with different reissues so that he can hold more than one cassette at a time. But, I've seen those, and usually the chest piece kind of looks funky to me. I don't know. But he holds one, so whatever, it's cool. But the cassettes themselves, and this is part of what makes Soundwave so great, is this cassettes themselves, they're Transformers too. And isn't that cool? You get one Transformer, and you can put little Transformers inside this Transformer. It's really cool. Great idea. And a good way to get Transformer fans to buy more Transformers. Anyway. So, I just for the sake of demonstrating, I guess, we'll transform him real quick. Just so you can, get an idea. Like, it's just a few little steps here, and you've got this little tiny Ceratosaurus. I mean, that's pretty cool, right? I mean, it's a little 2D, and he's kind of flat, but he's a little Ceratosaurus, and you can fold him up, and he turns into a cassette. and then you stick him in Soundwave's chest, and he just sits there. It's cool. It's great. You know, it's just very convincing and very successful and very cool. Alt mode. Now, let's transform him. So what are you going to do? You're going to just pull down on his sides right here. Just pull down, and then pull down yet again. Pull down yet again. And there's, there's his legs. Just sitting there. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go and not do this crazy. You're going to want to go to the back here and just flip the feet out. Just flip the feet out like that. Now the feet are made of metal, so when he's on the ground, he's on the ground. He is on the ground. He's not going anywhere. He's very stable and sturdy on the ground. So then what you're going to want to do is just pull these pieces out like this, and then you're going to take this tab right here, and you're just going to pull down on it, and that'll pop his fists out. And his fists are very much these, just kind of very square looking fists with the hole punched through. Insert random weapon here. Same thing on the other side, pull that down, and then the last thing you want to do is just pop his head out. Spin it around, and there it is. And there is Soundwave in robot mode. Here he is. Ta-da! And he is very blocky. Ladies and gentlemen, he is a very blocky man. Articulation, he does have 360 on the head. But again, that's for transformation purposes. His arms, they move up and down. But that's it. His elbows bend. They bend one way, anyway. They bend that way. His legs can move out to the side like this. But again, that's for transformation purposes. And his knees bend this way, like a bird, like a dinosaur. They bend that way. But again, that's for transformation purposes. Nearly all the movement on this guy that you can get out of him is for transformation purposes. That being said, you can't pose him really at all. I mean, this is what you get. This is all you get as far as posing and positioning and whatever else. So yeah, G1 Soundwave. Should you get him? Well, if you want to get him, you can definitely find him. He is one of those G1 Transformers that is very easy to find, and you can get him for a decent price. And in decent condition. I mean, I know this one has some of the stickers are worn off, and I know he's missing some stickers, and I didn't get him with his accessories, but at the same time, he is in pretty good shape. Everything works, everything functions, everything, is fine. The joints are a little loose and whatever else, but he's also 30 years old. So, I mean, you go on eBay, you'll find him, and you'll find him for a good price if you really want him. Now, should you get him? If you're a serious collector and a big fan, absolutely. If you're kind of on the fence and you're kind of, you're not really diehard into the Transformers, I don't think you're really gonna want this guy. He's so old school, very retro. You can't really pose or do a whole lot with him other than really just appreciate him for what he is. And I think true collectors, serious fans, this is for you, because you'll appreciate this. But anyway, this has been another review from Lexatron, and don't forget, all hail Megatron!